Guys, it has been done. We now have an official one-hit melee Amara, pure melee, no face puncher needed, no stinger needed, and it can absolutely destroy Mayhem 10. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rest, and in today's video, as you can probably already tell, we're going to be going over a newly updated pure melee Amara build. I'm calling it One Punch Amara, and that is because it lives up to the name. This build is based all around doing a ton of elemental damage with one melee hit, and obviously also doing a ton of melee damage. With those two combined together, you're going to be able to one-shot every single mob and take advantage of skills like Blitz, so you can keep dashing all over the battlefield and one-shotting everything. Not only is this build good for mobbing, it's also very good for bossing, and you're literally going to be able to just punch a boss to death if you want to. And I'm going to go on and say it, this build is going to shock some of you with the gear that I'm running, and I can tell you, you're definitely not going to expect what you think you're going to see. But with that being said, as always, my builds are located in my Discord channel if you would like to download them. The link for the Discord will be in the description. If you download the build, enjoyed the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, and it's what allows me to keep making videos like this for you guys. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this very interesting and fun build. Alright, so here's the gear, guys. If you don't know, the Psycho Stabber is going to be the main weapon we're going to be running. And if you don't know, this actually just got buffed to have a 340% increased melee damage instead of 120%. This buff alone is what is allowing you to one-shot enemies on top of the anoint we're running. And while under 50% health, you do 150% bonus radiation damage. This is probably like shocker to some of you, but this actually does work with melee damage. This is going to scale to your melee, and you're going to be doing bonus radiation damage. Now, before I get too far into that, I know some of you have already seen the face puncher and think, well, he said this is not a face puncher build, and it's not. But as you see, this does have the same exact anoint as the Psycho Stabber, but this is going to be for bosses like Grave Ward, just any boss you really can't melee. You can use the face puncher to just have a ranged melee for you. This paired in conjunction with the White Elephant right here, actually running Berserker White Elephant, you can apply sticky bombs, which this is also giving you more melee damage, more magazine size, and more area of effect damage. This is just a god roll for bossing, so you're going to get more fire rate when you melee an enemy, and you're going to easily apply sticky bombs like crazy. That is all I'm using the face puncher for, literally just for enemies that you can't melee. Like that's the only reason. But for melee and everything else, you're always going to run the Psycho Stabber with the URAD anoint. And to proc the URAD anoint, we're going to be running a front loader, and that's what I was talking about. We're running a front loader on a melee build. You know, you normally see, you know, a level 1 Grave Ward or a Stinger, so you can have a Nova to do melee damage, or the Grave Ward obviously just gives you a lot of melee damage when your shield's off. But we're running a front loader. So we have a face slam anoint, so when you use face slam, you get 200% more melee damage, which is really nice. But the main reason we're running the front loader is to proc our anoints up here. So now, not only is your Psycho Stabber just having a lot of melee damage, you now also have procced more radiation damage, which is really nice. You're going to be able to do all 5 elements with one melee hit with this build. And you're doing that because a huge downside to a melee build is you can get a lot of damage on one element, but if you have a lot of incendiary damage going against a shield, you're not going to be able to one-shot the enemy. So if you just have all 5 elements on your one melee ability, you're going to be able to one-shot literally every enemy in the game. So to keep track, we have radiation right here, and to help out, we're going to be running a Fish Slap Grenade, which if you don't know, this actually does do melee damage, and this is going to give you 50% bonus cryo damage whenever you use your action skill. This does work with melee, so now when you use Face Slam, you're getting more cryo damage, you're getting generally just more melee damage right here, and you're always going to have this bonus radiation damage. So that's 2 elements right there. Now, the Fish Slap, like I said, does do melee damage. This is also going to help out with bossing. On bosses you really can't get to, and since you're running the front loader, you can sometimes get insta-melted if you're going against a boss. The survivability of this build, I'm just going to go and say it, it's definitely not the greatest, but you can make it work with some of the skills we're going to get into. Definitely don't expect it to be dying constantly over and over again, because if you're playing it right, you're going to be able to just one-shot multiple groups of enemies with one melee attack, and you're not going to be able to die. But on some bosses, like I said, you can just get instant melted because you have no health gate. So you can use the fish slap instead of the psycho stabber, and you can just throw the grenades and kill the boss. Now, on some bosses, you can just run up and melee them if you want to. Now, for the artifact, we're going to be running a corrosive stone static charge. This is giving you 80% bonus corrosive melee damage, and the static charge is going to give you 50% bonus shock damage to actually chains to other enemies. So now, not only do we have radiation, corrosive, shock, and cryo, and you can probably imagine where the incendiary is going to come from, but this is giving you 30% more axe cooldown rate, 48% more area effect damage, and 38% more melee damage. All those are pretty decent for this build. Melee damage obviously good. Axe cooldown rate to get your face slam back really fast. But the other main part of this build is the Muse class mod. We have 3 points in Illuminated Fist and 2 points in Laid Bare. This is going to allow your melee damage to essentially just shoot out a remnant orb, is the best way to put it. It's going to shoot out this little orb that does just an insane amount of damage because of all the scaling that it gets, and you're going to be able to just punch one enemy, kill it. This orb is going to come out, go kill the other enemy. You can blitz to another enemy, kill that, orb will come out, go kill the next enemy. And on top of that, we're also going to be running Remnant, so you're going to have a second orb come out. So now when you melee an enemy, which like I said, you're going to one-shot the enemy, you have essentially just 2 orbs that are going to come out, instantly kill 2 more enemies. You're going to have static charge also proccing to shock everybody, and also you're going to have radiation exploding, spreading radiation everywhere and killing everything. So with all that combined, you can one melee hit an enemy and kill multiple other groups of enemies with not even shooting a gun. Now, like I said with the blitz, and we'll get into the skills right here, this is going to allow you to essentially just keep dashing, and every time you get a melee kill, this cooldown is instantly reset. It normally has an 8-second cooldown for the dash, but since you're going to be killing everybody with one melee hit, you're going to be able to dash, kill an enemy, everything explodes, the orbs go out, kill things, dash, and it just keeps repeating. You're just going like crazy and killing everything. It is super fun, and I highly recommend trying this build out. But to help out with this build, we're also going to be running 5 points in clarity. This is going to give you a little health regeneration, but we needed to get down to the bottom to get blitz. But this is going to help a little bit with the health that we have. It's not really going to do much at all, but you had to put them somewhere. I have 5 points in help enhance to get 40% damage reduction whenever we use our active skill, which is nice. And we're going to be running fracture on our active skill because this does proc face slam annoyance, but has a 28-second cooldown instead of 35 seconds, so we can get it back even faster, which is in return going to let us keep all our elemental damage up and our 200% more melee damage. I have 5 points in arms deal, so we get 20% more splash damage, 40% more splash damage reduction. I have 3 points in mindfulness, so we get 3% more movement speed and minus 8% shield regeneration delay, and this can stack 25 times. And this is going to help out with survivability of this build as well. This is going to help your shield start to recharge a lot quicker, and the movement speed is going to let you dodge bullets, so you don't just instantly die to something. But now I have 1 point in fire center, so we get more melee damage and more melee range, which is really nice. 5 points in one with nature, so we get more max health, more elemental damage reduction. The only reason I'm using this is for elemental damage reduction, and you also need to get down to the bottom. So since I'm running an incendiary axis element, we are taking 40% reduced damage incendiary, which is nice. But I have 1 point in guardian angel, just in case we do go down, we can instantly get back up, and it's on a 120-second cooldown, but this does work out nicely if you do manage to die. Then we already went over blitz multiple times to just how crazy it works, and the fact that it actually finally works now on Mayhem 10 is just insane. But I have 3 points in steady hands, so we get more handling and accuracy, which is alright for this build, but then 2 points to anima because I need to get down here to get to illuminated fist. So I have 1 point in here, which is getting buffed to 4, so we get 300% more melee damage, and this converts our melee damage to whatever axis element is. So now we're doing incendiary damage with our melee. So now to round everything up, we have incendiary with illuminated fist, we have corrosive and shock with this artifact, we have cryo with the grenade, and then on top of that we have radiation. So we're doing all 5 elements with one melee hit, which is to me crazy, and it is what is allowing you to just insta kill enemies. But I have 5 points of tipping, so all the elemental damage I just talked about, we're getting 30% more of it and 20% more shock damage, which is nice. But then finally in mystical assault, I have 3 points of fast hands, 1 in do harm, and 1 in violent tapestries. I need to get down to the bottom. 5 points of restless, so we get even more cooldown rate, so we can get our face slam back. 3 points of transcend, so we get more critical hit damage whenever we use our action skill. this can be stacked twice because we're going to be running Avatar, and Avatar lets you use your axe skill twice for a cooldown. So this is going to help out with bossing if you want to swap to the White Elephant and Face Puncher. The White Elephants actually do crit, so this is giving you a lot of crit damage, and you can just boss with that if you want to. Then I have 1 point Alacrity because I need to get down to the bottom. 1 point Ascendant, this is going to buff whatever augment you're using. You can honestly run whatever augment you want to. I'm currently running Allure, but anything will work. If you want to run Soul Stab to get health back, you can, or Still Summon to make people get locked in the air. It's kind of up to you, just whatever you want to run. So I'm running 3 points in Lay Bear, which is getting up to 5 with our class mod. This is going to let us do 41.7% more damage to whatever our action skill hits. This is just going to apply a debuff. You do more melee damage, more elemental damage, you just do more damage to the enemy. So this is actually really good with our Face Slam, because this is going to just hit a ton of people and we're going to be able to do a lot of damage to them. But 3 points from rest, so we get 12% more fire rate. This is just another skill where I need to get down to the bottom so you can have Avatar, so you can proc double Transcend. But the fire rate does help out with bossing because you can shoot the Face Puncher faster, which is nice. But then 3 points of rest, we get more damage and more damage after you use action skill. This is also going to help the Face Puncher out. 1 point Remnant, this is the main skill I'm trying to get down to the bottom for other than Avatar. So we can have this Remnant Orb just do an insane amount of damage on top of the Muse Orb. Then everything else with the radiation and the static charge, you're going to be ad clearing like crazy with just melee and one enemy. But then, as I already went over, 1 point Avatar, so we can pop axe skill twice for a cooldown. Alright, that is going to do it for the One Punch Mara build. I really hope this build lives up to its name for you guys, as it does for me, because being able to play Mayhem 10 and just one-shot an enemy with the melee ability and not having to worry about doing anything else, you know, with Groundbreaker or just any sort of thing like that, it's just generally a pure melee build, run in and just go ham with everybody. And on top of just one melee and everything, your 2 orbs, your static charge, and your radiation element also helping you ad clear, and it just makes things absolutely crazy, and it is super fun. But that's gonna do all for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you enjoyed this build if you try it out. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Try to bait, run away, don't go. I'm in hell, might as well just go. Losing track, don't take my soul. I'm in first, you too late.